Good morning. So, I want to do a quick video about hopefully and try to stay on track because I've got the gift of gab. I want to do a quick video on addictions. What are addictions and overcoming addictions? I'm also working on my own addictions. I know about addictions intimately. I'm speaking from a place of being humble, and I have an addictive personality. I'm starting to realize that addictive personality, what it really means is that it very that I have a very complex being and very powerful energies flowing through me. And when when we are so complex and have so many thoughts and so much potential, that the more complex we are and the more potential that we have, the more we have the options, the more we have to figure out, the more prone we are to trying to run away from standing up in our own strength. So we're powerful beings. It seems like the more people that I meet that have addictive personalities are people that aren't completely standing in their power, looking for outs. Um, so what an addiction is really, it gives you it's an excuse. It's something that, and I'm saying this with complete love and admiration and understanding and empathy, and I'm there myself. So let's just put all that out on the table. Um, so of I'm speaking from a place of experience. So whenever there's something that we don't want to deal with something in our lives that is happening, something that we're not completely standing up into our full self and giving ourselves complete expression in this life. We feel like we are making ourselves smaller because we're afraid of being out there or completely bringing ourselves forward, or we don't quite know what to do, and that causes us pain because our spirit or our soul has come here to get expression, has come here to bring something forth, to bring our own unique selves forward. And when we are cutting ourselves off of full expression, then we're in pain. And that is, I mean, that is solid. We're simply in pain, even if we don't know that we're in pain, and even if we think that we have it figured out by society standards, or uh, we're still in pain. Um, I had an ant crawling on me. And so then we get into these habits that alleviate the pain, they relieve the pain. So, and that can be in alcohol, overeating, smoking weed, playing the blame game. We can't handle what our lives, we can't stand up and take responsibility. So we blame everybody else for it, which is giving away your power. Drinking alcohol is giving away your power. Overeating is what you're doing is it's like pacifying yourself with food. It's like, I don't feel good about myself or about the situation or about whatever. And we do this without knowing it's psychological. We do this without knowing. You could call it letting in the demons from the back door, which demons, you could call them addictions. You can call them anything you want. It doesn't matter what you call them. We have these spectrums of behavior. So we have, let's say, a real easy one to understand is happy, sad. So, or jealousy, inspiration, um, hard, easy. And we have all of these spectrums, and there's all the in between, all the grays. There's black and white, and there's all the in betweens, all the grays, and so a lot of times when we create these habits that console us, that are like, we create these pacifiers for ourselves, which is, could be overeating, could be blaming, it could be way of thinking, it could be, you know, a lot of these pacifiers are like so subtle you don't even know they exist. And the thing is that they become part of you. They become your thought process and you believe them to be true. So if I have this glass ceiling that says, oh, I can never be like Joe Schmo over there that has, it looks to me from my side that he knows how to do it and he has all this money and he has yachts and he has this and he's happy and he's, every time you see him, he's putting on this face, or he could be happy. Who knows? It doesn't matter in my lifetime. But I'm using that as an example because it's an external example. So you could say, well, what's possible for him isn't possible for me. And then you just like check out. You don't have to deal with it. Okay, I don't have to try to go for more than what I am because that's not possible for me. And that's also giving away your power. That's also an addictive way of thinking. You're addicted to the thought. You're addicted to your weakness. You're addicted to not standing up and not having to do anything about anything. So that's where addictions come in. Even with the overeating, you don't know why you're overeating. You just feel like eating all the time. But what it is doing is it's actually consoling you. It's like it's like taking you and rocking you. It's like giving you this, I feel good. Yeah, it tastes good. Your stomach is full. When you're eating, you're also busy because you're doing something. And it also like makes you it kind of it makes your body relaxed because your body now is processing this food so it doesn't have to be out processing other things. And I have been overweight. I weighed at my prime 140 kilo. So you can do the math in pounds. All you have to do in Google is 140 kilo in pounds. I don't know exactly how much that is, but I'm sure it's like way up there. Probably like close to 350 pounds maybe. I was at least twice as much as I am now, maybe a little bit more than twice as much as I am now. Now I've been about between 63 to 67 kilo most of the time. Now I might be getting a little bit closer to 70 kilo just because for me, it's not even an issue anymore. It's a non-issue. I don't, it used to be when I was overweight, it was an issue. It was constantly on my mind. It was something, it's just like one of the things that I say, the things that bother us the most about ourselves are the things that we have our hand in the pot and we're stirring the pot the most. It seems like if we were stirring the pot the most in certain areas of our lives, that we would have those areas figured out, but we stir the pot in the areas that we have least figured out. And the places that we have most figured out, we just like kind of glide through, like places of relationships that come really easy for me most of the time. Some of the places, you can see what's going on with this twin flame journey, but like relationships in my family or meeting new people or relationships with my dogs, let's say, it doesn't matter where. There's places in my life that are so easy that it's like a fish swimming in water. You don't even know that they're really happening. And there are other people that have all sorts of complications in relationships with their families and all sorts of things, and their hand is in the pot stirring. It's the places that you let go and you release control that things glide into. But sometimes you do, all things are part of life. All things that show up in life are part of life. So sometimes you do have to just go through the detox and just push through it, just like I did with alcohol. There is give and take. There is black and white. There's sometimes it comes with ease and sometimes it comes with hardships. And that's just all part of it. And that's part of fully experiencing life. So addictions are places that we give ourselves outs. They are places that we don't rethink. They're places that are in automatic in our minds. Addictions are addictive ways of thinking. It's also thought patterns. As some addictions are good for us, and some addictions, anything, some addictions are good for us. And I actually think that most addictions are something that we really need to pay attention to because they're like thought processes that we're having that are on automatic mode that we're not rethinking. A lot of times we have triggers. Somebody comes in, I see this a lot with my twin. Like we have triggers. Somebody comes and tells you something and it's off with your belief system or off with this pattern of thought that you have. If you think about it in the physical world, it's like a pattern of neurons that are used to firing together, a thought that you're used to having, an addictive thought. You see, there's external addictions. You can get addicted to alcohol and drugs and all sorts of things, and those are obvious addictions. Those are addictions that you have an external um, you have something external that is very obvious that you can see that you can just take out of your life. That is those are the easy addictions, actually. They're as tough as they are. But think about like thought processes, things that you don't even know that you're addicted to. Blame game. There's people that spend their whole life blaming others, and that's an addiction. It's stepping out of your own strength and not having to do the work. When you're blaming somebody, or anger, like rage, you get angry at people for, and you don't even understand why you're really angry all the time. And you don't even notice that you're doing it. It's just part of you from when you're really young. And imagine that those are addictive behaviors. That's an addiction. It's not dealing with whatever comes up. So you have this automatic anger. There's emotions that we're addicted to. Some people are addicted to being the victim because they feel like they're powerless. They don't want to stand up in their own power, and they're giving away their power by becoming a victim. And that is also an addictive way of thinking. It gives you an out. It allows you not to fully stand up into your own being. And I really want to give some comfort here and some words of acceptance in this place. Every single one of us has these patterns of thought, and that is this life journey, is collecting all these patterns of thought from our childhood. And then we go through this, we go through the run of life, and where all of these patterns are applied in our life. And then we go through this waking up. And when we wake up, if we're the lucky ones, we wake up. And when we wake up, we start realizing all of these patterns, and we want to fix ourselves. And I would really suggest to anybody that really wants a fast path into a spiritual awakening, or feels like there isn't any movement in their spiritual awakening. My twin does, and his English is very well, very well. And just meeting him would catapult you into your spiritual awakening. So for the ones that are tough, people that are really that can be, that are brave, I want to say. If you're brave, I'll put a link to his he does advice. He guides people. He's a life guide, and really just one meeting will catapult you into so much self-healing and so much self-fixing, that really I see a lot of the people that he guides, the ones that are courageous. You come for one meeting and you get sent off. You could be catapulted into a year of self work until you feel like you can even handle anymore. It's so painful, the meeting, but it's really like it's worth it. It's worth it. So I will put a link to him. It's for anybody that's watching this and feels like they need help with addictions or any kind of spiritual guidance. And I'm just going to say here, it's not like you think. It's not like it's if you get guidance from him, it's very, it comes very unexpectedly. The way that his guidance comes, I think that if you want to give yourself a gift, it's an experience. And in the beginning, when you come into it, I just say, come in with no expectations, because it's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you strong, and it's going to hit you from sides that you didn't think. It's not a typical, like, I'm going to go to therapy and talk out my problems. It's going to be more like, I'm going to go and get my head bashed up against the wall. Kind of, I guess not your head bashed up against the wall, but you get like, it's painful. It's painful, but after you go through the pain and you see the intelligence behind it, and you're like, oh, it couldn't have happened any other way. I couldn't have gotten that lesson without going through that pain. And then you just are like gushing with love, like, oh, and thankfulness. Like, it's like coming into, it's like getting your own self back as a gift. Once you get over the initial shock, and if you can overcome your own ego and kind of the, if you're still fighting it, it's painful. Once you get the lesson and understand what the lesson was all about, and it always comes to you like this. You have to work your mind around it and wrap your mind around it. You're gonna be like pissed, and you're gonna be like, oh, and you're gonna be like, oh, and hurting, and then afterwards you're like, oh, oh, and it broadens your whole outlook on life. All of a sudden you see things completely different. You become excited about your life. You realize things, and when you meet him, it's like your biggest things, the most obvious things are the first things to go. And it's an experience. So our addictions, I want to go ahead and sum this up. I didn't mean to do that, but I just honestly feel like that is like the advice that I really want to give, um, because I believe in it so much. I feel like I'm giving a gift of suggesting him. It really is a gift. And his site is in Hebrew. I told him, he's redoing his site. I told him that he needs to do it in English because the gift that he has to give is much broader than just this audience in Israel. And his English is excellent. So when you speak with him, he has, full blown conversations with English speakers and he expresses himself really well. So, and I'm sure that you could do with a Zoom with him. I didn't mean to do all this promo, but I really feel like I'm doing a service to whoever's watching this video. I really do. So that would be my suggestion. And you can write to him, email. His site is in Hebrew. You can write to him by email. He has email there, or you can connect with him on Facebook and write to him on Facebook in English. He understands English well, very well. Like technically well, and speech well. So that would be my suggestion. And with the addictions, I just want to sum this up because I want this to be concise. That addictions come in where we don't stand up in our full strength, where we are not fully accepting of and expressing ourselves. So whenever we are making ourselves smaller, the addictions have room to come in because our natural state is in a state of wanting expansion. We're wanting to get expression. We're wanting to live life to the fullest on our automatic, and society is retarding that. Society is trying to make us into workers or into one of many, go and serve our country, taking away our individuality, putting us in schools to make us factory workers, or to make us, an identity that is not ourselves. If you want to be good, then you have to be a good worker in society, and you have to make a lot of money, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to stay in mainstream. And each of us are so individual and so different that there is no one size for all. We should be teaching our children that they are unique and how to find their own superpowers and how to be a unique individual and how to bring their gifts into humanity, because each and every one of us, oh, something crawled in there. Each and every one of us is completely different and has complete different gifts to bring to the world and to society and to teach and to do. Each and every one of us is a unique individual that channels all these different areas and energies through us. And society is retarding that and telling us that we're wrong. We're tested in school, and we're giving this small little test. I mean, there's so much knowledge. No matter what we learn in school, we're still coming out with that much knowledge. But we're also coming out feeling like we have to be constantly producing and doing and doing and doing, and not only producing and doing and doing and doing, there's like this spectrum. It's about, it's like about this wide that they're testing us in, and we're telling so many students, how many students get complete A's. We're telling students, okay, you are 70%, so you're not good enough, or you're striving to be 100%, and each and every one of us is 100%. Each and every one of us is 100% of what they are. And so they're, of course we're going to be riddled with addictions. Of course we're going to be riddled with insecurities. We are subject to that. We are pawns of the game. We are going into schools and being taught that we're not enough and that we're inadequate. And so, of course, we're going to try to lull ourselves with all these addictions and excuses. Excuses is the word. Addictive ways of thinking are making excuses for ourselves that we're not good enough, or that's not possible for me, or all of these ways of thinking. All of the weak ways of thinking that we continuously think about ourselves, especially. And this I want to put in that there are powerful affirmations that I am. I think that I'm going to actually do a video of affirmations. I am. Maybe I'll even make it to where you can do like it's a meditation, because I really feel like I am. What you say about yourself really makes a difference. Okay, so I want to go ahead and stop this here because I've been talking for a while. I really wanted to make this a short one about addictions. I'm also dealing with my own addictions now and putting out my book about alcoholism. So I think that probably is really stirring this up in me. I might do some more on addictions just because I feel like here I maybe didn't explain it in simple words, and I think that I can do probably a little bit of a better job on that. I think that when I'm done editing my book, it's a pamphlet, when I'm done editing it, that I'll probably have a lot more insight, and I'll probably come up in a few more videos, I'm sure. So addictions are places that we're not standing up in our strength, places that we're leaving the back door open, and that we're making excuses for ourselves so that we don't have to make the lives that we ultimately are meant to be living. And then we are in lack. So thank you for watching. I appreciate